Welcome to the Produce Industry Podcast, your weekly download on current events, trends, market reports, and community discussions. Join us each week from Tampa, Florida, as we cover all aspects of the produce supply chain industry. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, my boy, the voice of the produce industry, Patrick Kelly.
Hey, produce people, welcome back to the Produce Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Kelly, also known as Lil Citrus, coming to you live from Tampa, Florida. That's right, everyone, here at the Ag Life Media Studios and the Produce Industry Network. We are bringing you the official voice of the produce and supply chain industry, everyone. I'm happy to be here reporting to you fruits, vegetables, and everything in between. As I say, from asparagus to zucchini, we'll cover it all. And we're going to cover a little bit today that has been talked about. It's been in the news. It's all around. I mean, everywhere. You probably already know it. It's the T word that no one wants to talk about is tariffs. But more importantly, we're going to talk to an importer today that is bringing in fruits from other places in the world to the United States because that's what consumers have demanded over the last decade, right? And I think it's cool to hear directly from the sources, right? And that's what's so cool about the podcast and being here is that we get to talk to real people with real supply chain opportunities and issues. But before we get started and we get into that today, let's tell you a little bit more about what the show is going to be about and give you a couple announcements too before we get started, because everyone, it's June. And guess what? If you're just coming off the West Coast Produce Expo, how was it? Always an enjoyable time in Palm Desert, and love being there. Love playing golf. As that's one of my favorite rounds to play is down in Palm Desert. Been playing that course for probably over 10 years, and it's just a fun environment to be around. And then obviously moving just next week, I've got the Florida Citrus Conference in Bonita Springs. I'm really looking forward to that because we're getting all the Florida citrus leaders together once again. They were there for the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame, and now they're getting together for their annual conference. I'm looking forward to learning more. I'm looking forward to meeting more Florida citrus growers because I will tell you, and speaking of this importer, they import a lot of citrus. And one thing I can tell you is, just like many other programs that are out there, they complement local production, everyone. It's not like they're just sitting here importing and competing with the local grower, because over the years, tariffs have, and duties have come into play to help the U.S. and American farmer. Okay. And this company brings a lot of citrus in, but they complement local production when it's needed. So that's some things we're going to talk about in today's episode. We're also going to talk about cause marketing as well, too. And, as you keep going through the calendar throughout June, right, because I talked about that citrus, July, we also have the food service conference by the IFPA. That's always held up in Monterey. You can get out of some heat, get into some beautiful weather. I believe Dan, the produce man, or Ross, the produce boss, will be there, but I will not be in Monterey this July. So we'll see you out there, though. Don't worry about it. And moving in, just to keep moving along the episode of what it's going to be about and what key takeaways can you take away from learning from this importer as well. And not just with citrus, but other varieties. I don't know, they bring in grapes from all different countries. They bring in pomegranates. So it's not just about citrus, but again, summer citrus is on the rise, everyone. And it's being talked about so much. As you know, as I'm heavily involved in citrus, I'm communicating with citrus growers in South Africa. I'm communicating with importers that are bringing in Argentinian lemons, and then also the mandarins from Uruguay, Peru, Chile, and then coming into South Africa. So, just understanding the overall supply chain will help all of our businesses, right? And the communication that we need can come from some of these people. So now we're going to talk a little bit about that. And, traditionally you think of mandarins. I want you to think about this because I have two separate bags here that I've brought in studio today. And one is a staple item that's in our house every single week. My son literally will tell me what to go pick up, or he'll say, "Hey, go grab these." He also throws them away when they're bad. Like he thinks it's like this product that's everlasting, and they did a good job with the brand. Okay, and that's the Halos brand that you do see here. The Halos brand. There you can see it. Ready? There you go. You like that? Well, hold on. That's their bag. We'll compare it to another bag. But they've done a good job with marketing, everyone. And so that's what you traditionally see. And my son asked for this brand name. He's like, "Dad, get the Halos, get the Halos." And I'm like, oh man, he got it. They got him, right? They got him. It happens. Just like I got caught with the sumos. I thought that a sumo was a sumo. It's actually a deco pond years ago. You can laugh at me for that, but it was. But check this out. This is by another company, right? SUNRAYS, and it's a snack with impact. Okay, everyone, I get it the right way. But this is another brand that you'll see out there in big box stores and independent retailers. But it's more on cause marketing. So again, obviously, like my son would say, it's the same piece of fruit but a different bag, right? But the brand is really I would say the center behind this one. The importer that we have on today is going to tell you about the center behind SUNRAYS as well. So that's going to be fun to talk about. But I always want you to see that there are other brands out there beside what you always see in your store. And there's people behind the scenes that are constantly doing that. So, and we want to be able to support those people in need. Again, you've got a company like Halos that's the wonderful company that owns Fiji Water. They own Palm Wonderful. Okay. They own 50,000 plus acres of pistachios, walnuts, oranges, right? All these different things. Look, they're the powerhouse. They're the leader in the industry. But there's also things you can do with other companies. And we're going to hear about that more in a little bit. Okay. But really right now, we're going to hear from one of our sponsors, and then we will be right back to talking more about cause marketing.
Zac Technical Services, we do many things. Managed services for IT needs, including consulting. Another area of expertise for us is cybersecurity, making sure that there's awareness and risk prevention. And then the final piece is the data and software services, where whether it's software automation, data management, even AI, we have things that we can do to help your business. Those are core components that your company relies on. So we have a rich history of being able to manage these IT services so that you don't have to worry about them. You trust us so that we keep your operations going and your business going ultimately. When we talk about what AI can do for you and the time savings, even though you don't think you have something that you can just put AI in, you probably do if you have a business case that could be benefited from automation or efficiencies that are brought in. We can trust AI to do those things, and the beauty of that is you can free up time for your employees to do more meaningful work. So even if you think you may not benefit, I think it's worth a conversation because you will be surprised. We'll walk you.
That's right, everyone. Zac Technical Services, pretty cool cybersecurity. One thing that I've been learning about from Zac is that hackers know that the food supply chain cannot be down, so that's why they target us. And there's many companies that I've talked to over the last year, 2 years that have said their websites have gotten hacked. And guess why? They're going after the food supply chain. And if you've shut down the food supply and the water supply, it'll cripple everything else. So check out Zac Cybersecurity when you get a chance. And welcome back, everyone. I'm glad to have you here today. I want to just jump right into it because, the last month or so, I really got into talking more about cause marketing. I had Albert Perez of Continental Fresh and Martine Casanova of Thanks Dreams here in the studio. And we talked about their mission, right? Continental Fresh is Water for All mission to bring clean running water to the Dominican Republic, towns that are in need of running water. And Thanks Dreams, which is bringing awareness to farm workers. So being able to create their dreams for them, whether that's as small as maybe getting a bicycle to get to work, or even having a dream of getting a dryer something that's so, I would say a necessity in our world, but to them it's a dream to have, right? It's something they've never even experienced. And could you imagine not having running water? I mean, could you imagine not having what you need to get to work, to get to school, to live? So cause marketing is there, and I say that because we can do good, and doing good is good business. So we've even opened up a spot on our mobile application that you can donate back to Thanks Streams and even Water for All. And what's great about it is that we all spend money on food for travel, right? We all go out to dinners. How many times have you been to a dinner and you say to yourself, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the bill this time"? You already have it in your mind, right? Like you're like, "Hey, I got the bill." Like you told the boss, you're like, "Hey, we got the bill," right? It's like, "We got the bill." You're like, "All right, I got the bill." All right, listen. When you go to get that bill, if your client says no, I got this, and they're swift, like Albert Perez is. He's very swift in grabbing the bill. You donate the bill. So one person says they'll take it. It's 150 bucks. Well, you can log on the Produce Industry Podcast mobile app, and you can click on Thanks Streams, and then you can donate that exact amount to Farm Workers Awareness or even Water for All. Heck, even a charity of your choice could be Save the Children, like SUNRAYS does, right? That's how you snack with impact. But if we're already going to be paying for that customer's dinner or vendor's dinner or splitting it, why don't we accept that person saying they'll take the bill, accept it next time, and then you tell that person, "You're going to take the bill. I appreciate that. I'm going to donate the exact amount back to one of these two charities. Thank you for taking that bill today." One, it's going to build a strong relationship with whoever you're out to dinner with, and they're going to enjoy it. And they're probably going to ask you, "How do I do that?" Well, with every package packed, right, with some of these companies, SUNRAYS, Continental Fresh, Thanks Dreams, guess what? Dollars go back into it, into Save the Children, into Water for All, into Farm Workers Awareness. So you know where your money's going, and you get to do good yourself. The other day, someone said to me, they go, "I can't change the world." I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, you can." And they were like, "No, I can't. How do I change the world when I'm just one person?" I said, "You see a piece of paper on the ground, pick it up and throw it away." I said, "You see a door, open it for somebody else." I said, "You see something on the ground that normally wasn't there the last time you were there?" I go, "Maybe pick it up." And he goes, "Okay." And I said, I go by what my friend Mark Hobbinjan said, which is, let's leave the earth a little bit better the way we found it. And one, if we found it clean and you go to the spot or you see something, don't you want it the same way that you saw it before? You don't want to see it trashed. You don't want to see that, right? And sometimes people just need to be told that, because then it clicks for them. They're like, wow, you're right. It makes sense. So in produce, we're doing that with different items. SUNRAYS is one of them. And for, again, Save the Children. And that's what's cool about it. And it's sustainable, right? Their bags are sustainable. Some of them, the one we have is not there sustainably, where you can legitimately, John and I have talked about this, you can almost put it in your backyard. I think you pretty much can put it in the soil, which is pretty crazy. But these are things that's going to help, one person help this planet, for 100 years from now. So, which is pretty cool. So cause marketing is definitely one. Check out some of the videos we did on our YouTube page. I think you'll enjoy that. And I think you'll enjoy just having another look at how you can do good. I mean, think about it. Like most people that get you with the extra dollar, right? "Hey, would you like to donate today? Hey, would you like to donate today?" What if I told you that every time you bought a SUNRAYS bag, they donate for you? You don't have to go any extra mile. You don't. You just go to your normal local grocery store, find the bag, right? Purchase, have a conscious decision to say, "I'm going to buy this today because I want to give back," right? You could purchase something every single day that you love, right? Because I eat oranges every single day. And you can give back, right? That's what's cool about it. That's what's really cool. Now, and then you think to yourself, you're like, "Yeah, but Pat, you just told us about imports. You just told us about that this stuff could be from Uruguay, from Peru, from Chile, from all of these different areas. And we want US, we want local grown fruit." Oh man, if I got to blow your mind now, well, there's not Florida citrus year round that can cover what consumers have asked for. It's not It's not us. It's what you've asked for. It's what the consumers have asked for. Do you want a Valencia orange all summer long to eat? Or would you rather juice that and have a navel orange? Well, navel oranges aren't grown in the United States year round, right? Oh, what about this? Let me throw you for another loop. What if you're like a margarita guy or girl, right? Or you like shots of Patron, which I do not like shots of Patron. But what I'm saying is limes. We don't commercially grow limes in the United States year round. They're brought in from Mexico, right? So you got to think to yourself a little bit about where you actually eat your fruit from. Now in the industry, you're like, Pat, we already know this. Well, no, we already know this. So the B2B category, we still got to talk about it, because what if your local senator doesn't really understand that? I'm just saying, there's so many things that we have to understand, and that's what's cool about some of these import companies. And we're gonna stop. We're gonna take our next break because we're gonna bring Caitlin on board here. That's right, from Jac Vandenberg Inc., who's one of the sponsors of the show. It's her first time here in the podcast studio. She lives actually right here in Tampa, so it's even better. We're here. We're live in the studio, having a great time. We're gonna have some products, but first, you want to know about Jac Vandenberg? Let's check out the history of Jac Vandenberg.
120 years ago, in Groningen, the Netherlands, a small produce business began, trading fresh local fruits. By the 1930s, the Vandenberg family moved to Rotterdam, Europe's burgeoning fruit hub. But when the 1940s brought turmoil, they fled to America, rebuilding their legacy in fresh produce. In 1958, Jac Vandenberg became a trailblazer, importing fresh Chilean fruit to the US, opening doors to global flavors. Today, that spirit of growth and innovation continues, with sustainable packaging, carbon footprint tracking, and the finest fruit varieties. We're redefining freshness for the future. Family, fresh, innovation, celebrating a legacy 120 years in the making. This is Jac Vandenberg.
Welcome back, everyone. We are back once again. The Produce Industry Podcast. Jac Vandenberg. I absolutely love that commercial. I am telling you right now, I get so many compliments on it too. And let's get into this. Let's get Caitlin on the show, everyone, sitting right across from me. Welcome.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
It's listen, when John told me, he's like, hey, we have our next podcast guest, and she lives right there in Tampa. I'm like, you didn't want to like disclose this information like a year ago? Like he's like, well, blah, 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 John, and because normally John handles all the marketing.
Yes.
But I was like, no, we want to get someone on the show, man. I always ask John, can you come down? But his role, he's not able to travel and do as much as he can, right? Especially with the baby, right? We all know that. But it's cool. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. No, it's like I said, it's very exciting to be here, and I'm really happy to help tell the story of our SUNRAYS products and celebrate what's great about Jac Vandenberg.
And listen, I almost asked because I'm gonna let you tell everybody your last name, because I was like, are you part of the family over here? But what's your last name?
Gerstenberger.
And then we got the Vandenbergs, right?
Yes.
But that's your husband's name, but you also had a European maiden name as well. So it kind of fits in.
Yeah, it was kind of serendipitous. I was like, we're just going for the really long names here. My business card looks ridiculous.
It looks great. Okay.
Yes.
It looks great. It looks great. Well, that's very cool. And, we bring companies on board right to the podcast that I tell John this all the time. Like, we don't just bring anybody on. Realistically, it's people that see the same vision, understand what we're doing. We're building broadcast quality content. But what we're doing is we're doing that for you. We're doing that for your brand. We're doing that. I'm in produce, right? And look at the things that are happening in produce today. And we want to talk about those stories, right? We've got, so much stuff, right? In-house, we've got things externally that are happening, right? Like there's so much going on. And the best thing we can do is just, I say, keep moving forward with some of this stuff, right?
Exactly.
Well, we've got some cool product that you guys have brought in for us today.
We do.
And that's where I asked you first, right? First thing was, where did it come from? Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, where does this stuff come from? So let's show some of those products that we brought in house though. And then I want you to tell us a little bit about them.
No, you bet.
There they are.
Yeah.
Here, let's go full screen. Boom.
All right. So we have our Bagu brand grapefruit, and that is brought in from Israel. And that season is basically, because of the uncertainty with the tariffs and everything, that season's actually going to wind down a little earlier than it typically
I gotta
would.
ask that though, because I said that when you brought that in, I was like, wait, we bring Israel fruit in.
We do.
Where does this go to?
Retailers all across the country. I mean, this is we bring it into the Port of Philadelphia, and we, that's it. It goes to all big box stores, retail chains, independent chains.
That's
anywhere
crazy.
that you can buy fresh fruit.
Yeah, and I know, because dealing with Canada, they bring in Turkish, and we're not allowed to bring in turkey fruit, everyone. But it's interesting that I asked you about that right off the bat. I was like, because grapefruit right now, traditionally, you would get grapefruit out of California.
Correct.
And you'd be waiting for South Africa to come.
Exactly.
Am I right?
You would. And so this helps bridge that supply gap that you were talking about earlier. Cool. And making sure that we have fresh, really high quality product year round.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think it is. And that's obviously a red grapefruit. We didn't cut any open, everyone.
It is a red grapefruit.
It is a red grapefruit. That's what I thought. Because again, when you move into California in the summer, they have kind of like that marsh, right?
Right.
It's more of a lighter pink. It still doesn't have that deep color. What else did you bring me? I have some SUNRAYS right here that I keep showing.
Yes. So those are from Morocco. Those are Moroccan Nattercots. And so that season again is helping to bridge the gap.
This is the Nattercot that they always promote.
It is.
All right, I'm gonna eat one of these.
Yeah, do it. But yes, so that season's pretty much winding down now as well, and is going to help kind of bridge the gap again into the South American product coming in from Chile and from Peru.
Listen, there's a Juicy Crunch tangerine by Noble.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, I'm like, man, this Nattercot's a really good piece of fruit. But this is more of like a clementine though, isn't it? It's like a Murcott.
Yes.
Nattercot.
So Nattercot actually is
its own variety.
It's its own variety, but it's very similar to the W Murcott.
Listen, if you had smell-o-vision, everyone, it is like lighted up. Do you want me to pass you one?
I'm good right now, but I'll have one later.
I almost threw one at her. I'm going to try one just because the Nattercot, I was in Berlin,
mm-hmm.
and they had for Fruit Logistica, they did a Nattercot juice in like a fresh juice machine.
Oh, you can't beat it.
It compared to that, like I said, that Juicy Crunch, that like I call it nuclear orange.
Oh, fantastic!
That's good. It's too juicy.
Too juicy? I don't think that's
so juicy. I didn't say too. I said that is so juicy. It really is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a fantastic piece of fruit.
And this one, that's the purple SUNRAYS bag I just had. That's correct. The Nattercot from
Morocco.
From Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And then the other bag was your green bag.
Yep, the green bag. It's just this. Okay. So we do that with our packaging. So the purple is the 3-pound bag, and then the green is our 2-pound bag. So it's just a way to help differentiate the different weights at the store level. So that way your customer has a little bit more clarity of terms of what they're buying and what that size is.
That makes perfect sense.
It's one of those brilliant things that John came up with.
I'm not gonna lie, that makes perfect sense because it is. You do, and it's not that, because sometimes you do see when you're conscious shopping, and you see like the $3.99 a pound. You do pick up a bag and look and say, well, what am I buying? How many pounds am I buying?
Exactly.
So you can estimate your basket.
Right.
I mean, I do.
No, I do too.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I hope you were going to be like,
what? That's so strange. No.
Why would you do that?
No, I think that's pretty standard practice.
Okay.
I hope so anyway.
People you also think they can get Florida citrus year round. Okay.
That is true.
So don't try us. But that's a good piece of fruit. How long is this listen, and tariffs, right? Like everyone, like tariffs, people are trying to stay away from the conversation. I brought it up in the beginning because tariffs are happening right now.
They are.
But what we're seeing is, we're seeing shorter seasons, like you said, because of the tariffs. Israel might shorten their season a little bit more. And it seems like there's like a 10% tariff all the way around the board right now. And so there's a lot of speculation like, hey, where is it going to go? What's it going to do? It's one of those wait and see games, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we're just trying to keep ourselves educated. We are trying to educate
Oh my God, yeah.
our customers, trying to just share as much information as we can in real time. But yeah, I mean, we're literally just going day by day and trying to make sure that we're taking care of our growers, taking care of our customers, and trying to just communicate as much as we can about what's going on.
Yeah. And I think that's all that we can do. And I think that, there's a lot of cases. We had Gabriel Burnell of Seasons Farm Fresh here, and he talked about mangoes and how they are getting impacted on a weekly basis. We had, Continental Fresh talk about that. And a lot of companies are trying to, like I said, stay away from having the conversation of talking about it. But these are really good case studies. We've had some people say, hey, we're going to do a vendor or a grower importer split 50-50 on that 10%. I've had other importers tell us that, hey, we're going to do a 30-30-30 split. The grower's going to take 30%. We're going to take 30%. And the actual customer is going to take 30% as well. So we've seen, like I said, different options around the board. And I think that's good. But like I said, right, Caitlin, I think that we should have more case studies out there because we can then analyze which one worked best for the commodity at hand. Seriously, because you can't just go, oh, we did this and it worked for the season. Well, what else we got?
Right.
Let's put this R&D to work. Let's put the USDA behind this because as we talked off screen about learning about the history of tariffs, our government needs to understand that price model because when you just throw out a 10% or 30%, they don't understand how badly that will affect it.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
This is like the perfect time to create history.
It is. And the whole livelihood of our industry is about taking care of our growers.
100%.
So, I mean, those are the people that we really have to look out for. And, that's what we try to do to the best of our ability is to make sure that we are providing good returns, so that way they can continue to plant and continue to grow their business and continue to provide a year-round solution to consumers in the United States.
100%. And we talked about that a little bit when we were talking shop outside is it was more or less like there are growers in the US that need help, right? And we understand that, right? But we also have to understand that a lot of this fruit, it was demanded by consumers, right? And what happened 50, 60 years ago, which again, that's not that long ago, if you think about history, with tariffs coming into play and how these things happen, it was protecting the American farmer. But we have American-based companies that are now importing this fruit. It's not like the olden days where you had immigrants that were here bringing the fruit over and then selling it on the street corners like you saw in I always say like the gangs of New York, right?
Right.
It's so different now.
Yes.
Right? And consumers have demanded this fruit. They want, again, my son said, oh, I need halos. Right? These demanded a brand. So now it's like consumers have demanded what they've wanted. We've done that. So now we got to do what's best for the community. And again, I love what you said. It's like, we got to get back to the farmer. We got to provide growers the best possible return. So they have money for water. So they have money for labor. So they have money, right, to pack their crop. Pesticides if needed, if they're not organic. There's so much that goes behind. You think that the grower is making profit. Sometimes that profit goes exactly 100% back into the operations to make sure their grows can last 3 to 5 more years.
Exactly. I mean, and you're talking about growers that this is their family livelihood.
Yeah.
This is farms that have been in their families for generations.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, impact that generational wealth and try to make sure that we are keeping up with our global responsibility.
Yeah. Well, and that brings into just talk about global responsibility. Let's talk about sustainability because Jack Vandenberg also does that. John has taught me so much over the years. Like, just again, we talk about it all the time. Like from the moment like him and I connected on LinkedIn, we kind of were asking questions back and forth. Hey, do you know about this? And I was like, no. He's like, you should read into that. And I'm like, hey, have you seen this? He's like, no. And it was like a learning experience. I got to learn about the bags. I'm like, you can't throw those in your backyard. He's like, I beg to differ. Like,
Yeah, no, we're really proud of those sustainable bags. And unfortunately, we didn't have any
No.
here. But we do have a home compostable grape bag as well as a home compostable citrus bag.
Yeah.
And so both of those, literally, you can take them, eat the fruit, and then put it in your soil, in your compost pile in your backyard, and it will break down on its own and just go back into the environment in a natural way. I mean, how
as it should
exciting
be.
is that, right?
Again, doing good.
100%.
Right. And you can do this by a purchase of what you purchase every single day.
Yes.
Right. And that's what's cool about it. Everyone, if you want to check out those bags, you can check out the SUNRAYS website. Right. And then you can also check out our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel has a lot of videos on it, and you get to see those bags on some of those videos. Right. They're actually, it's funny, is one of our kind of intro commercials we did for the podcast, because everybody was like, what is the podcast? It actually has this, like, a lot of those SUNRAYS bags right there getting packed. We were at the Eastern Pro Pack a couple of years ago when we recorded that. So I love that, though. I think it's cool because you know where your money's going.
100%. And we also actually have QR codes on those biodegradable home compostable bags that it'll actually take you through the entire supply chain of that particular piece of product. So you can literally trace that particular bag all the way back to the exact grower lot that it came from. And you can see exactly what the carbon footprint of that one particular bag that is now in your refrigerator, where it came from.
What it did. And you know, John and I did a live stream on LinkedIn, I think over a year ago. And what we did was I actually scanned it on my phone, and we had my phone plugged into the computer, and we actually got to show you the actual bag and the whole process, what you just talked about.
Yeah, 100%.
So you get to see that. And people think QR codes are dead. They're actually not.
No.
Thanks Dreams is proving that too, because how they get their scans and how they collect all their data is through those scans. So they're like, oh, we got 356 scans from Sam's Club this week. That's good.
100%.
Like, right? Like, that means you knew either 356 people bought a clamshell of grapes, which is amazing.
Yes.
Or they were that curious to pull out their phone and scan.
And learn something about the product.
Right?
Yes.
And even if they didn't buy it, they learned something new. Like, wow, that's crazy. And maybe next time they're going to grab them. Maybe they weren't on the grape. We just bought grapes. But now they're going to be looking for that. They'll be looking for that impact, right? That cause marketing. And yours goes to Save the Children.
It does.
And again, every package packed, which is pretty cool.
Yes. And so it's donation, and that particular organization is just wonderful. You know, they go to support children in impoverished communities. So really making sure that we're creating, again, that generational fulfillment, and making sure that we're taking care of, you know, different communities across the world where they need it most.
Yeah. And that's what I love about, like I said, Continental Fresh, Thanks Dreams, Jac Vandenberg, you know, and I think we need to do that too, because we've made a spot, it's a 501(c) spot that we have on our webpage. I don't know if you guys are even if you just donate, or John, you should think about starting a SUNRAYS 501(c), buddy. I'm just saying, a little idea out there. And then present the check back, right? We need to put something on our app for you guys, because you guys are in that cause marketing. We have a spot for that on our mobile application. I think that'd be cool.
No, that'd be great.
Because we're trying to get enough money on that, like to get normal people donating to that in our industry. Because even in our industry too, Caitlin, I think that a lot of people, they talk the talk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know it too, huh?
Yeah.
I don't. I walk the walk. I eat produce every day.
Same.
Yeah, I'm very active, and I'm like one of those guys where I'm like a promoter of all of it. Like, people will be like, "Oh no, I'm good." I'm like, "Whoa, you're not getting lettuce and tomato on that."
Right.
Right. So I think that we have to do that too, and that's why I'm putting more stuff in our app, and even our donation. We go for cause marketing, like Water for All. We go on a hike every year to the Dominican Republic. We hike 40 miles in a weekend. We do all for clean water. Right. Every year, we normally don't start trying to get donations till like now, June, right? And I'm like, man, no, I got to start earlier every year. We just need to make it an ongoing thing, not, hey, it's a new trip. We just need to create the fun and just keep going, because then we get to present that check.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to get more produce people to be involved in that. Listen, I'll be real with you. Produce people, they make a little bit of money. Okay. I've seen sales. I've been a sales guy for produce companies. Okay. I know if you hit your numbers and you do stuff, you make an okay living. An extra $100 a year is not going to break the bank on donating back to water or something like that.
Right. To make sure that our industry stays longstanding.
But some people don't. They're like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're going to go spend $100 tomorrow on gas or whatever. But, we can give them crap for that. But, so as we start to wrap this up, though, closing down the episode, one, I think it's amazing that you got to the studio. Okay.
No, thank you very much for having me.
No, it's great because I want more people to be here to be able to tell their story and tell their voice and say what's coming in the fields and on the horizon, right? And so no, this is why you're here. So if you start to think about this, right, as I can't believe, right, we're already in June, and watch, it's going to be fourth quarter before we know it.
It is.
Right. What could we think about? Like, what could be some key takeaways that we could give the industry or tell them about Jac Vandenberg, or, what can we help them with? Right. Because that's what we want to do. We're not just promoting SUNRAYS, everyone. We're here to promote what you just said, the industry.
Yes.
Let's get some industry nuggets out there. We might have to think about them, but
I think just to be intentional with your purchasing, to be
I
really intentional about what you're buying, the quality of fruit that you're buying, paying attention to the different countries and really kind of educating yourself about what's available, what is, where your fruit is coming from. And then, to take it back again to the cause marketing, right? Make sure that you're actually giving back and paying attention to specific causes that are meaningful to the global industry as a whole.
Well, like what you said here too is, I pulled out my handy dandy notebook. I'm like old school Steve from Blue's Clues with a red book though.
It's okay. We like the red book.
Sustainably grown certified growers.
Yes.
I think that goes back in the mission too of what you just said.
It does. Yeah. So every grower that packs in our SUNRAYS brand has to be certified by Sustainably Grown.
Boom.
Within 2 seasons of packing for us. So that makes sure that we're giving back to water and soil conservation.
Yes.
It means that we are watching out for biodiversity protection, pollinator friendly growing methods, and then also making sure that the farm workers are being taken care of.
Yeah, that's what it's about the most. And then we talked about fair trade a little bit. I think that we're not going to get into it today, but I think I'm gonna get with John about doing a history of fresh produce on fair trade. I just interviewed the co-founder of Fair Trade USA, about a week or two ago, and just more information about that. Like, think about farmers in the U.S., right? And think about how much struggles we have on, there are government programs out there, but it's hard to get those government programs too if you don't know how to apply for them. So, again, it always goes back to the farmer, though. What can we do, whether it's international, right?
Yes.
Or domestic? Our goal is to get the grower the best, highest, whatever you want to say. I've heard them all, right? Return.
Yes.
That's our goal. And many people, Caitlin, I don't even think understand, for another little nugget out there for you, is that some of these growers out there, this is their 401ks. Some of this is like, and people go, oh, it must be nice to have a 401k as a grower. Hold on. No, they bought acreage when they were younger, and they have been learning how to do this and cultivate, or that was passed on to them from their grandfather or their dad who passed away. And they're just like, I'm not letting this go. And they reinvest. And that's their like 401k. I know guys that they're like, hey, I have a full-time job, but I own 75 acres, and that 75 acres is worth X amount. And that's what I have. So when I retire, I'm selling that plus my teacher salary.
Right.
Like, think about it, right?
No, literally.
So, we bring it back to the farmer in general. And I think that goes around the world, right, Caitlin?
It does.
Every farmer I say the same. We're all either working and owning a farm that works, right?
Yes.
It's we're all in that same bucket, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So what else? What else can we say before we bounce out of this and we let everybody go? Can we bring up the pomegranates finally? Because John never lets me talk about pomegranates. He never sends me any either.
No, I'll make sure you get a box. No, we actually just got our first arrivals of Chilean fresh pomegranates, and they're the wonderful variety. So very, very good quality fruit, very, beautiful color, just like what you want to see, and, an enticing pomegranate on a store shelf.
That's beautiful. I had Wonderful's pomegranates that I picked up from Costco a little over a month ago or 2 months ago. We did a video and it was like over 2,000 views instantly. The color, right? It's so vibrant. And then I got to learn how to get the arils out of these things because I am the worst. Okay. Like at first I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like chop and like use the knife. I had arils flying. My wife's looking at me. She's like, what are you doing over there? I was like, I'm figuring things out is what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Trial and error.
Because I had no idea. And then I was like, but the arils in the juice is amazing. If you have a chance to have fresh pomegranate juice,
it's the best.
It's like a fine wine. I'm serious. Like you gotta mix it up. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. And it is. It really is some good stuff. So let's get some pomegranates in here this year. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming into the studio.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This is great.
It is.
I'm glad the whole goal is to bring our supply chain together. People like Caitlin, people like SUNRAYS, the Snack with Impact, Jac Vandenberg, and all the sponsors that we have. Our goal is to just elevate the voice of the produce and supply chain industry. So as I say, we'll see you in the fields and on the horizon.